A Super Mario. Right. This week there's been a number of reports come out through. I think it was Go Nintendo put out that apparently Nintendo and Disney are planning on, or they're trying to work together on some kind of projects. Now, there wasn't really, it was just rumor, it was just speculation. There was no confirmation, there was no information. And sort of everyone's brains runs off in about 1,000 different places at once. Now, first off, I'm going to put this straight out. Obviously, Wreck-It Ralph had Bowser, it had you had the mushroom, you had a few sort of nods to Super Mario in that movie. Now, if they're making Wreck-It Ralph 2, which I think they are, that could be part of the discussion. What part of the video games are going to be included in the movie? Will there be any merchandise tie-in, etc.? That's where my brain goes to straight away, is the Wreck-It Ralph movie zone. The big problem, I think, with Disney now is obviously they've just signed, Nintendo just signed an agreement with Universal for the theme parks. So it kind of limits things a little bit in terms of what they can do with that. But obviously there's a big question is, what about Amiibo and Disney Infinity? Because I think after the Skylanders announcement of E3, everyone's just like, well, they can do it if they wanted to. So what, did you get to see this article?
Yep, I got it. And I can tell you my opinion.
Yep,
okay,
carry on.
All right, this is going to be long-winded, so just bear with me. And so if you want to jump in, hold it to the end because it's going to be a little bit. Here's my thought. Will it happen? For Infinity, I don't think so. I don't see it happening for Infinity. If there were to be anything Infinity, I feel like we might see maybe a Sonic. And the only reason why I say that, it's because it's Sega. It's completely not Nintendo. But here's my theory, though. Can Disney and Nintendo be working on a side project? Like whether it be a mobile game or a different console game? Absolutely. I see that as very possible. Now, here's another theory, this is just my thought. JB tweeted something about this. Somebody said, will we ever see Mario and Mickey together? And I think he's very spot on. He said something along the lines of, only if only our CEO, Bob Iger, purchased Nintendo, then we would probably see Mickey. Mickey would be a lot closer. I'm sorry, Mario would be a lot closer to being in a game with Mickey. Now, here's my personal opinion, and a lot of people might be like in disagreement, but I feel like Nintendo has been in trouble for a few years, and this goes along with the Wii U not being a successful platform, but the fact that they signed theme park agreements with Universal, and they've already said that they're going to do mobile games now. That's outside of their platform. It shows you that there's a little bit of a struggle. They had a big opportunity with Skylanders a long time ago, because Activision approached Nintendo saying, hey, we have this idea for these Toys to Life game if you guys want to do it, and they declined. Another thing that they messed up on was Nintendo approached them saying, we want the Mario Brothers in our movie, and they said no, but well, we can work out Bowser. So here's the thing. I feel like Nintendo's struggling. The fact that they've teamed up with Skylanders sees it way further away from Disney Infinity, so it's not going to happen. And I feel like it was Nintendo's need to team up with Skylanders, because I feel like Nintendo's struggling. And here's another thing. A lot of people are saying Amiibo. Hello, everybody loves them. It's a craze. Well, wait a second. Hold on. First of all, there's shortages that are put on by Nintendo. It's not because Nintendo is just purposely doing it. It's because they're also trying to, be careful. They do certain amount of lines, and they don't release a lot because they're being careful for them. Now, here's the thing that I noticed as far as Nintendo goes with releasing stuff. When something messes up and it's not selling, they don't like to report their failures much. So clearly we don't see what's going on behind the scenes. And Amiibo is not really a big craze like everybody thinks. It's just the States. Because if you go to Australia, there's shelves full of everything. If you go to the UK, and I'm sure it's a little difficult, but it's not as hard as getting figures out, amiibos out here in the US. Japan, it's easy to get them. I mean, if I really wanted something badly, I can import it from a different country. It's just here in America. Just I think everybody's fueled on wants instead of needs, and therefore everybody outbuys them. But ultimately, last long-winded comment is: will Disney and Nintendo work together on a game? Yes. Will it be Infinity related? I highly doubt it. I just don't see it happening at all. And again, the only way it would happen is if Disney decides to buy Nintendo, which I doubt it's going to happen. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's this kind of thing of, I'm looking at it going, it's not so much a case of could or they could happen if they want to. You know, there's no reason things couldn't work together. You know, in 5-10 years they could work on something. Could we see Mario in Infinity? I doubt it. Could I see a Mickey amiibo? Yes. I actually look at it. I'm looking at it the opposite way around.
Yeah.
You know, I could see Mickey as an amiibo. You know, dual. You know, they could do that dual thing. It's very hard to say right here, right now. You know, with the way that Skylanders happened with this dual functionality figure, it's happening. So therefore, you can't. I find it very hard to sort of sit there and say, well, it's not going to happen. Well, it could happen. Might happen. You know, the possibilities are maybe slim. But it's very hard to sit there and, for me, and think, well, they announced this Skylander amiibo at E3. It's very hard to sit here and say it's never going to happen. You know, Nintendo, you know, Disney will work with other companies if they can make money out of it. You know, they're already working with, you know, EA for Star Wars. They're already working with Avalanche. They're working with Panic Button. They're working with, you know, Ninja Theory, Studio Gobo, etc. You know, they're working with Mobile Ding departments. They're working with Warner Brothers on Lego game. You know, they will work. They work with other companies all the time. So there's no reason they couldn't work with Nintendo on. You know, they made an Olaf game on the DS and Wii. You know, they could be working on stuff, and I just find they could be working on something. Is it Disney Infinity related? Maybe not. Maybe, you know,
you have so much IP out there. Yeah.
Yeah. You know. It's very hard. Nintendo are going through a moment at the minute where they've made some amazing bits of technology, but they are resting on a lot of nostalgia and retro with the games. And there's a big push in the games industry looking at Nintendo going, you know, if you want to play Super Mario, you have a Nintendo system. But the world has moved on. Everyone's got smartphones. You know, the DS industry is losing a lot of ground to smartphones, and the world is changing. And Nintendo have been maybe slightly slower at trying to change. You know, I think, you know, Nintendo have always been very much on. They want their hardware and they want their stuff on their hardware. And I think, you know, I think in a few years it would never surprise me if Nintendo did the Sega. You know, when I was a kid, if you said to me Sega and Nintendo were working together, I'd have been like, nah, that's never going to happen. You know, you got your two different systems. You know, we had, you know, when I was a kid, it was Sony and Nintendo. Oh, sorry, Sega and Nintendo. You know, within 10 years, it was Sony and Nintendo. And then Microsoft jumped in. You know, I don't think you will never know where the future's going. You know, 10 years' time, we could be having Nintendo games on, you know, the PlayStation 5. You just don't know where it's going to go in the future.
Yeah, it's just the whole Mario Mickey thing, like I said, it could work. Infinity related, there's just too much intellectual property that Disney has that they can use before. If there's a Wreck-It Ralph 2 and it involves Mario being a crucial part in that movie, can it possibly be a part of Infinity? Maybe. I mean, it maybe can be, but I see it highly unlikely. I just don't see it happening. If there's a Wreck-It Ralph 2, if Mario's in it, then things will change everything. But I highly doubt he's going to be a big part of it.
But there's the thing, you know, he could literally be a cameo. I mean, I only watched Wreck-It Ralph again a couple of days ago, and, you know, it's like Sonic. You know, Sonic's on the cover of the movie for me. Yeah. He's not even in it. He's literally just there's a booth where he walks by and says, "Don't die in the real life." You know, he's not even a character; he's just a billboard.
Yeah, he's just an ad. Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah. So yeah,
But you do have Eggman in the villains
Yeah.
meeting too, which is funny.
so that's the thing. It's there's already proven fact that they will work together. So, but they're not going to bring all of the amiibos into Disney Infinity. That's just impossible. They're
Right.
already bulging on how they can fit all the characters into the current generation, let alone trying to include 100, 200 amiibos. There's no really any and financial sense. If you've got a figure, but I could see. You could easily see a single character or a few characters cross over in a few years. It wouldn't surprise me. I think that's the difference. If they put out a Mickey amiibo / Infinity figure, it wouldn't surprise me. And it wouldn't surprise me if Mario, but Mario they would not allow onto an Xbox or a PS4 at the minute.
It'll be just like Skylanders. It's going to be exclusive to their console.
And
that would be the only way.
And I don't think Disney like that. I don't think
I agree.
They don't seem to be very much into exclusive. You had it yourself. The idea of doing a digital only character freaks them out again. So the idea of doing a single character in a play, I don't think Disney are into that. But like I said, I can't say it's never going to happen, but I don't think it's going to be happening for the foreseeable future with Infinity.
Yeah, I agree. They probably will watch Infinity, but side project, absolutely, definitely possible.
Yeah, it's this kind of thing that because it was brought up in our Facebook group, and It's like it's really hard to kind of. I find like I said, it was very difficult for me to say no. I can't. We don't know any information. It's not. But there's part of me that thinks something could happen, but I just don't think it's going to be in Infinity based because they don't need it, and Disney want to own they've got enough stuff. They've got so many brands and franchises of their own. Why would they give money to somebody else? But I could easily see them working together on other projects. It's just it's all up in the air at the minute. It's very hard to know.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you want to add on that before we wrap up for this show?